Hello and welcome to the sneak peek into Bloomberg New Contemporaries 2020 exhibition at the South London Gallery. My name's Chloe Austin. I'm an art historian, writer and curator based in London and the exhibitions and research manager at Maximilian William Gallery in Fitzrovia. I've been lucky enough to interview a selection of the artists on show this year, and I'm now going to talk you through a few more of the works on display in the exhibition. In a series of wooden etchings mounted on steel frames, Orfeo Tujeri mythologizes the life cycle of a plant. The distance a seed travels from its mother plant has no clear beginning or end, much like the cyclical phenomenon it draws from. An angel makes a daisy chain under a starry sky. A sinister hammer approaches an isolated flower. Someone, perhaps the angel or a new character, weeps a river into existence, and someone else travels, tailed and maybe protected by a bird. In the beginning, or the end, a new bud blooms from a tree trunk which looks suspiciously like that hammer. These are the vignettes we are offered. Narrative is up to the viewer to form from our own knowledge, experience and feelings around these things. The spiritual and mythical nature of the tale is brought into the real by Tujeri's choice of medium. The wooden surface he works upon is reminiscent both of the school tables he started wood carvings on, but also the natural subject matter. Murmur by Chun feels reminiscent of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, remade for an age of gender fluidity and advanced AI technology. The delicately drafted, doe-eyed women have a touch of monstrosity about them, from the blood splattered on their dainty outfits to their unnatural rolling eyes and dislocating movements, not to forget the metamorphosis of a snake-woman hybrid that appears midway through the work. These glitching influences occupy a cyberspace of sorts, one which seems to have allowed for multiple transformations, or perhaps more accurately, revelations of truer versions of themselves. Subverting our expectations, these muses talk back, often in unexpected voices, quoting gender theory which has very real-world impacts. In Frankenstein, after all, the real monster was the doctor. Perhaps for Suso, the real monster is a system which values binaries, categories, and binds over multiplicity, fluidity, and freedom. It's dusk in Lilly Kemp's diptych, Lights On, where we meet a high-fashion matriarchy decked out in rich fabrics and jewel-toned designer Chelsea boots. Taking cues from girl bands past and present, their coordinated outfits speak to their camaraderie. Graceful and effortless in the face of hard labour, it comes as no surprise that Kemp collages women from the pages of fashion magazines, making use of the dramatic poses and the merging of reality and imagination in fashion photography to recontextualise her subjects and comment on the sexualisation and fetishisation of women, and especially women of colour, in the media. To me, her work speaks to the many ironies and injustices of the fashion industry, especially fast fashion, an industry which overwhelmingly markets itself to young women in the affluent countries, while often exploiting young female garment workers in the global south. Although foregrounding agricultural labour, in Lights On, the lines of worker and consumer are blurred as the women toil in designer garments. The works illuminate the fact that all that truly separates garment worker from garment wearer is the luck of birth, and that the shady sides of fashion and media are often disguised by glamour. Monorain aims to promote self-love and care for black women, tackling issues including the skin bleaching epidemic in her work. Across the globe, skin lightening creams and other lightening products are targeted at dark-skinned women, and the proliferation of these products has become a symbol of racism and colorism in the contemporary moment. The adverse effects of their use, including scarring and itchy and flaky skin, reflect the psychological harm that is brought about by existing in an othering world. The burnt and blistered dough, which forms the centre of Monorain's sculpture, Braiding Bread, is at first reminiscent of the scarring caused by skin lightening creams. However, it actually comes from Monorain's purposeful burning of the dough to make it dark, a process in opposition to skin lightening. Here, darkness is desirable, something to be worked towards. There is something deeply symbolic in the material too, bread, something to be consumed, which made me think of the consumption of black aesthetics online and in real life. On Instagram, blackfishing is another epidemic, with white women tanning themselves into racial ambiguity and being praised for the very attributes black women are criticised for. Pots and vessels are often compared to the body, so it makes sense that Jung Min Park uses ceramics as a medium to express her embodiment. Visually, the markings on these vessels recall anatomical models and biological illustrations. However, Min Park ceramics break from the uniformity of the biology lab, which almost exclusively features a standardised human experience, most often read as white, male, cis and able-bodied. But beyond identity politics, Min Park's works make clear that our experience of embodiment is simultaneously shared and unique. A variety of bodily noises are heard throughout the sound element of the works, which both reminds us of the multisensory nature of embodiment and its lack of representation in the history of scientific illustration. Accumulation of experience is a central theme to Min Park's work, with the sloshing and bubbling noises reminding us of water, which makes up 70% of our bodies and has to be constantly refreshed, an example of an element of our bodily functions which could not exist in isolation.